Hello.
Hello.
Hey, friend.
Hey.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you.
And you have your diptych tee on. I was like, I can recognize that stitch.
It's a good one.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm good.
So exciting. Let's give people a few minutes to join. Your background looks so cool.
Thank you.
I
But
got Legos over here.
is that a Batman?
Yeah, look cool.
Is that made out of Legos?
It is. And this Adidas shoe. You see?
What? That's dope. Man, how many
um,
have you done?
my hopefully my connection's okay. If I cut out at all, let me know.
Okay, let's see.
I
Nah,
feel like
so
we're a
far
little
it's good.
bit delayed. Okay.
Is it? Can
Uh,
you?
yeah,
Good.
I can see you. Yeah.
Up and up.
Um,
Oh.
well, let's get started. First, just tell us who you are, what you do, a little bit about your cultural background, and when you got started. Just let us know who you are, what you're up to.
Well, I'm Jordan Nicholson. I'm primarily a photographer, but I also do illustration, do some video. Uh, what? I like to skate. I like to dance. I love music. Um, I'm from Seattle, Washington, South Seattle specifically, where I still live. I rep it all day long, and yeah, I don't know. I love Seattle. It's a great place.
I love it.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you like to illustrate. I've seen your illustrations, they are amazing. But I know like photography is your main thing. Would you say that?
Definitely.
Do you feel like as a creative it's important to have other outlets that have less pressure? Like what does illustrating and dancing and music, like do those help you with your photography at all?
Mhm. Yeah, I think that even beyond, I don't know, having multiple creative interests, I think just like generally having interests
Yeah.
outside of whatever you're doing creatively is just like so important to I don't know, just be a well-rounded human being.
Yeah,
I get so lost in like one thing, and if that's like all you are, I don't know, you can kind of get lost in it, I think. So
definitely.
it's nice
Yeah.
to have all parts of yourself that you can be exploring.
Yeah, I always like to ask questions like that because I think that it's good to have some things that don't have as much pressure, and it kind of keeps you out of that space of like, oh, I'm not inspired, because it's like, well, I'll just go draw today, or I'll take photos today. But I think that's awesome because you are very good at a lot of things I've seen firsthand. um what do you want people to feel when they see your work? Well, let's start first. What kind of things do you like to shoot?
I would say I love shooting people, just like in every capacity, every space. I think that, you know, I'm just very interested in humans, and I think they're cool. And a human life can unfold in so many different ways. So it's like, it's cool. Like, I just love documenting real human beings
Mm-hmm.
who are doing different things. And I think that's probably has been like my favorite thing about photography is just having this avenue or this like, it's almost like a spaceship that takes me to these different worlds where it's like, all right, we're hanging out with people who love food. We're hanging out with people who make music. Hanging out with people who are like super in tech, or it's just like it's this cool uh, thing that just sort of opens a lot of doors to a lot of different spaces and places.
Yeah, I think that's so cool. And I have been blessed to be shot by you a few times. And I think one of my favorite things about working with you is like it's so authentic. Like I feel like you truly, truly capture people just so naturally. And um I I definitely, it's like my favorite thing about your work. There's no like, hey, do this or act this way or anything like that. It all happens like very effortlessly. But for the people that just experience your work visually by looking at it and haven't been shot by you, like what do you want people to know about your work or to feel when they see your work?
Mm. Uh, I would say I want people to know that there's nothing like, I feel like crazy fancy or like technical uh, when I'm shooting. Like I think sometimes I'll get questions from people that are like, "Oh, like how did you shoot this? What were
Mm-hmm.
you thinking when you shot? Like, why did you shoot it in this way?" And I think that for so much of my work, it's like very intuitive, and it's not this like super planned, thought out thing of like, all right, uh, rule of thirds.
Yeah.
Uh, in my mind, like this is what good lighting is, so that's what I'm gonna go for.
Right.
I think that so much of my work is really about being present and responding to like what's right in front of you and just being there and kind of being in a state of play and just like trying things out and
Yeah.
just doing what kind of feels right, feels good. You know, I think maybe after the fact, I might be able to like pick apart why I lit something a certain way or uh, used a certain angle, but like in the moment, it's very just, oh, this feels good. Like about,
Yeah.
you know?
I love that. And I feel like you can feel that. But I think that that was like what was so cool. I saw the project that you did with Apple and just like how all those photos like you just shot on your phone. And I just think that that's so it's important to say that out loud because people do kind of get wrapped up in this like, well, what kind of lens was that? What kind of camera was that? What kind of paint do you use? And like just to be able to show people like if you are called to create, like you got to do it just with whatever you have.
Yeah, which is like, I think the one of the best things that I guess I took as like a compliment from that was like going through the comments on the Apple post and
Yeah.
people who are like, "There's no way that was shot on an iPhone." I was like, "No, it was like it absolutely."
That's so funny. Yeah, no, I'm sure. I believe it. But that, yeah, that's awesome. Do you have a favorite project? I mean, I thought that project was amazing, but do you have like a project that just stood out to you a lot? And if so, like why is that?
Mm, I mean, shooting Russell Wilson and Sierra was like pretty surreal. Like
Yeah, I bet.
being in their house, hanging out with them is definitely a moment of like what? Like how do we get here? Like
That's
Russell
so cool.
Wilson, spacesuit, like what is going on? Um, I think the actually one of my favorite shoots was this last year, and it's actually something I realized like I haven't really posted about yet. But I shot for Google, basically doing a campaign for them that was highlighting users, real life users of their exposure notifications app they kind of developed, which is like a COVID like contact tracing
Yeah.
app. But I think it was just a really, really cool shoot because I had this like production company that reached out to me and they sent me this like 40-page brief, creative brief, and the brief was like 90% photos that I had already taken.
Wow.
It was basically them saying like, yeah, so we want to do a project shooting these real life people and basically just like do what you do in this,
Yeah.
do it for us. And I don't know, it was very really like validating, I guess, to know that like my work and the way that I shoot has a place in this
Yeah.
world, in the world, like in this like very established
Hmm.
company, like I always kind of felt that I couldn't do like commercial work because, in my mind, I perceive it as like, using like crazy six light setups and like this like big production and everything's like perfect. And I don't know, for me, I'm much more interested in like things that are just very honest and real and not crazy polished,
Yeah.
and just telling real stories. So it was really, really cool that like here's one of the biggest companies on planet Earth hitting you up to be like, yeah, we like what you do. Like, just
Do you?
don't
Yeah.
do that over here.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that that's so cool. But honestly, like, it says a lot about you too, because you just, I think as a creative, like, it's really easy to try to fit the mold of what you think these companies are looking for. It's a lot harder to stay true to who you are and to just be like, no, this is what I do, and stick to that. And I think that, something like that, I definitely understand it being validating, because it's like, okay, people see it. And um I think those projects that you get to just be like your most authentic self, like those are the ones that like just mean everything. You don't have to try to be any other way. So yeah, that's really cool. Do you feel like in working, partnering with big companies, or partnering with anybody, or just being a creative in general, what do you feel like are some of the biggest challenges that you face in your creative path?
I think bigger challenge. Oh, you wait. Okay, you froze for a second.
Oh,
Uh,
I was like, I lost you. Okay, there we are.
I'd say a challenge for me is sort of sorting through like the business and like organizational side of uh, doing art professionally. Uh,
Yeah.
I, there's like people that are like business minded, and then there's like the full like hippie artists, and I'm
Trust
like
me,
way
I
over
understand. I get it.
here.
Every project, I'm like, oh, okay, this means I have to figure out my taxes like now. you know? I definitely understand that. How do you push through that? Or what's like kind of been your method for either learning more about the business side? Do you have someone that helps you with that? Like, how do you work through that?
I would say it's still something that I'm learning.
Yeah.
Mm, It's just like, and like doing art for like money, like a big thing for me is almost like, even now it's like, what? Like, you
Yeah.
want to pay me to do this thing I'd be doing for free
Yeah.
on my own time anyways? Like,
I know.
how do I even charge for that or whatever? But like, I think just over time, you kind of are just like fumbling your way through, but you get through, and then you're like, okay, maybe next time I'll do this a little different, or
Yeah.
and now it's at a point where, like someone reaches out and I'll like, oh, well, okay, this shoot is similar to that one that I did like 2 years ago, and
Yeah.
that's how much they kind of had budgeted, and so I'll kind of go off of that. But
Yeah.
it's just like going day by day, taking notes. I think for the like bigger projects that I've had, um, I have started working with like a rep who they have that conversation of just
Yeah. Isn't that so nice? That's kind of like everybody always asks me about that. I'm like, that's like, when you get on these calls or these emails and it's like something you're so excited about and you're like, I'll do that for free. Like you have to have somebody in there that's like, no, you won't. So I understand that. And I think that, you're giving a piece of yourself, away. So it's like, you definitely have to, um, put a value on it. And that's hard as a creative. And you just create full time, right?
Yeah, I think since 2015 or 16, it's been 100% art and all creative things.
What made you get to a space where you felt like you were ready to just go for it and do art full time? Like, how did you know when it was time to do that?
Well, I think it's actually a funny story. I I was at my last job. I'm not going to include where it was, just because I'm sharing certain details about it. But
Yeah.
like I was at this place, and I think it was definitely just like on my heart of saying like, man, like I think it might be time to make the jump. I had had two jobs and I'd been doing shoots on the side, and then eventually went down to one job. And then this last job, it's like I wanted to kind of leave, or it's like it was kind of a thought, but um, I don't know. I didn't pull the trigger, and low key, I think the universe like ended up pulling the trigger for me
You
because
got fired?
I didn't get fired, but there was a guy who worked there, and he was like the angriest human I've ever met, but he ended up getting let go. And he called in and was basically like, hey, this isn't cool. I'm very mad. Um, I went and I got my guns. I'm gonna come in and like shoot this place up.
Oh no, absolutely not.
And so it was one of the most stressful days of my
And
life.
you were just like, no, this is my sign.
Yeah. And so I mean, I called in like that night or the next morning, and it was just like, I'm sorry, I can't come back in.
Yeah, no, that is definitely, if you're looking for a sign, that would be one.
It was like a very intense way to start this new chapter, but it's really interesting because I think I had it on my heart that I wanted to do art like more, and then suddenly I have all this time, and I feel like I just remember getting like a influx of like opportunities right around that time. So it's
That's amazing.
it's like, had I still been at the job and got those opportunities, I don't even know if I would have had time to do them. So it's like, as soon as I had all this like space in my life, it felt like the universe was like, all right, we're gonna.
Yeah,
Oh.
I really believe in that. I believe that when you like figure out what your passion is and you really truly go for it, then like other things just start to like align and find you and make a way for you. And which doesn't mean that it's always easy the whole way through, but those things, like, you'll have those moments where you're like, okay, this is definitely what I'm supposed to be doing and where I'm supposed to be at. So I think it's so cool. I'm always so happy for people that have found that, because a lot of us live a lot of our lives without knowing what we're passionate about. And so to be able to be like, this is it, and I'm gonna like risk it all and just do it full time, it takes a lot. So
Mhm.
good for you. Um, you've done so much. I've seen you everywhere over the last couple years, just doing your thing. But do you have a dream project? I believe in like manifesting. So let's say it out loud if we do. If you have something that just like, this is what I want.
Let's see. I think this is probably the first time that I'm saying it, publicly, but
Yeah.
uh, I want to do a personal photo project about followers.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know, I feel like so much of the conversation about internet and social media is like how it's like disconnecting us all and we all feel so alone. And
Yeah.
I, in my experience, the internet has like brought so many cool humans into my,
Yeah.
like, these are like IRL in real life like connections. And I, in sort of pursuing art and like putting myself out there, I've have somehow I have all these like connections to people all around the world.
That is a really beautiful perspective and definitely different from like what you hear people say, but also like very, very true. Definitely true.
It's like, I don't know, I think my idea would be basically I just want to like couch surf planet Earth and like meet up with people who either follow me or I'm connected to on,
Yeah.
you know, on social media and just go live with humans like around the world, like document them, shoot photos of them, and like, and then come back home and just like have this body of work documenting like real life humans. It's like, it's not just a number
Yeah.
or a follower that like this nameless person. It's like, nah, this is like a real
That
person.
so
I,
like chills. You have now I'm gonna be on you. Like that
right.
is that honestly is like one of the coolest things I've heard in a very long time. Definitely do it. And now that you've put it out there, there's one, I mean, one, we're manifesting, but two, there are people that will take your ideas. So
That
get
was, I mean, that
on
was an
it.
idea. What if you get it like sponsored by like Instagram,
Yeah,
like Candy
that
or something, and they just like fun. Like literally, I'm imagining I would just like for a year or
I
something.
can see it. Like I can see it so clearly. Yes, that has to happen. Like, who do I know? Like, gotta figure that one out for you.
Let me
That is, yeah, that's such a good idea.
and can't,
Um,
we could film
yeah,
the
come hang
documentary.
out with me and Junie and Marley. I follow you. Um, in a few minutes, I want to take a couple questions. So if anybody has questions, now would be like a really, really good time to just write them in the chat, and we will look at those. And then while they do that, what advice would you give to creatives, specifically Black and Brown creatives? If there's something that you wish you would have known, or something that's been really helpful for you that you would want to share with other creatives that are also trying to figure it out.
I would say, you know, just do it. Like,
Yeah.
I think that I would say, you're saying like advice to creatives, which I feel like you almost have to get to a certain point in your journey to even like identify as a creative. But I
Very
feel
true.
so many people who are like wildly creative, but would never, like identify as that. And, I think there's so many people that like want to act on their creativity, but for whatever reason, they don't, they're like, oh, what are people gonna think? Like,
So
who am I
true.
to think that I could make art or be creative? I'm like, I'm that's not what I'm about. No one knows me for that. Like,
Yeah.
and so I don't know. My advice to anyone would just be like, you are creative. Like, just do
Definitely.
it. Go. Uh, you know, I really think that every single person, has creativity in them to tap in with. Um, yeah, I think it's just such a like innate thing to humans, and yeah, we can all find it.
Yes, I agree. If you are one of those people and you are listening and don't feel like you're creative, this is your sign. It's definitely, I tell people that all the time. Like, it's in everybody. People underestimate the vulnerability that it takes to just like actually create something, but it's in there. It's like you have to just be able to tap into that space, and like once you do, I mean, you know, it's like
Hmm.
only up from here. Like you can go anywhere, but you have to like give yourself that chance to just like be free with whatever it is that calls you, whether it's, you know, painting, drawing, photography. It's like just taking that step. And you know, we move so fast through life now. It's like sometimes if you just like slow down, give yourself the space to like really create something, you'd be, people would be so surprised. It's like making that first brushstroke or like figuring out what you want to shoot, like that stuff is like you just have to just go for it, and the rest kind of comes from there. So I think that that's amazing advice, and definitely what I would say to people that even just feel stuck. It's like just keep doing it, you know, like document what it looks like when you feel stuck or when you're not inspired. So definitely. Let me see. I'm not good at this, but I see, okay, I see there's like a spot for questions now. So um one person says, would you ever be interested in working with local upcoming artists from here in Seattle? This is from someone that has been doing art for a long time, but has is doesn't feel comfortable calling themselves an artist.
Yeah, and hit me up. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think people would be, or some people are definitely, I think, surprised at what shoots all the projects I'll take on. Like I
Yeah.
think, um, and it kind of it does make me a little bit sad. Is that like, you know, you look over and you see, oh wow, Jordan shot Russell Wilson and Sierra,
Yeah.
and so like from the outside, someone might be like, oh, well, I would love to work with him, but you know, like he wouldn't want to do anything with me. Like, uh,
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know, like in my mind, like some of that more like visible stuff is like it's very cool and it's awesome and exciting, but you know, just as interesting to me is like, I don't know, a mom going to the grocery store and like cooking, and I got to shoot that we
Oh,
did
so
like
cool.
getting moms shopping at like Vietwa, and I don't know, like that's, I love that, you know, I'm like just
Yeah.
as that. So I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll shoot it. Let's go.
Yeah, I think that that's so awesome. And I know, like, knowing you, I know how much you mean that. So I hope that people like hear you when you say that, because you really do, like, you capture people in their authentic selves. And so I can imagine that it would be just as inspiring to shoot like your everyday person doing everyday stuff. So hopefully people take that to heart, because I know you mean it. How do you deal with creative blocks?
Creative blocks. Hmm. I would say, you know, I think personally, I think it's like totally okay to take a break.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's people who are in the school of thought of like create every day, even if you don't want to. It's a, you know, um, but I don't know. For me, I definitely am not afraid, I guess, to like stop. Just be like, you know,
Yeah.
we're just gonna be a human and enjoy time with people, have fun, like go for a walk, like
Yeah. No,
yeah.
that's inspiring. It really is. I think social media can really add to that, like work all day long, like don't stop no matter what. And there really is so much value in rest and
Mhm.
resetting. So I think that's awesome that you're able to tap into that, because it gets tricky.
Def- and I guess I'd also just say like, uh, I like very intentionally consume a lot of content, I guess, that inspires me. Like I have a very organized Instagram saves system of just like illustration and video. Like I have a folder that's just dedicated to color, and I think just intentionally trying to take things in, because you can be very, I think, passive almost in your consumption, and it's just sort of like you're just bored. You're just like taking things in.
Yeah.
I think a better way to do it is to just like take in things with the mindset of like, how can I incorporate this, or what do I like about this, and really understanding why you like the things that you like, because then from that mindset you're like, oh wow, I really like this color combination. Like, why do I like the color combination?
Yeah.
Conversation is inspiring to me because then I'm just like, oh wow, okay, I guess I really like warm tones that work together in this way. I
Yeah.
want to go take a picture that's gonna like capture that idea that I'm marinating on. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Very, very cool. And it's got to be good for your like mental health too, to like be mindful of what you're taking in and how it makes you feel. I'm going to ask you a couple rapid fire questions. And while I'm asking you these, if there are any last minute questions, go ahead and type them in and we will answer what we can. Okay. What is your favorite song at the moment?
Favorite song? Maybe Silent Hill by Kendrick.
Oh, yeah.
And then the song with Sampha on it.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
I've been playing those two a lot.
I'm into that. Your go-to comfort food?
I mean, boba tea. A lot.
Yes, that's awesome. What is the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning?
uh, I wish it wasn't, but probably check my phone, see
Yeah.
what fire is consuming the world. Not healthy.
Yeah,
And
I know. I try to be mindful before I look at my phone, but some days I'm just like, I always try to start with gratitude, and I'm like, okay, thank you for another day, and then I go straight to my phone. Yeah, definitely got to start your day off right. Do you prefer coffee or tea?
uh, well, I don't know. I mean, I think coffee in the morning. Actually,
Yeah.
man, I like kind of like the drink that I've been doing is I really like iced chai with a shot of espresso
Oh
in it.
yeah, dirty chai. Yeah, I love a dirty chai.
In between
Yeah,
combination.
yeah, that's definitely you're right in the middle. Um, okay, two more. If you could raid one person's closet, who would it be?
Yours.
I know. I'm like every time I see you wearing something, I'm like, oh, I want those. We got to do it. We got to make it happen. Um,
Closet
okay,
swap.
yeah. Give me those flower pants. I need those. Okay, last question. Are there any TV shows that you are binge watching right now?
Actually been catching up on Ozark,
Nice.
which
These scary shows. I tried to watch that and I was like creeped out right away. So yeah. Any blood, anything. I can't I can't do it. But I know that people really like that. So
I
yeah.
like dark twisted shows.
Yeah. Well, tell everyone where we can see you more and more of your work.
Well, here on Instagram, of course, Jordan Loves Life. Uh, photobyjordan.com is my portfolio, and yeah, I don't know. I'll be around. I'm in Seattle. Hit me up.
Awesome. Well, this was so fun. Thanks for doing this with me. Definitely inspiring. We are all rooting for you
Thank you.
100,000%. You're killing it. Yeah. So, anyways, very nice talking to you. Thank you for answering all of our questions, and we'll be back with more. All right. See you later. Bye.
All right. Bye.